to Unleash Your Inner Goldilocks, how to get it just right. Thank you so much for joining us for another exciting and insightful conversation. And I cannot wait to spend the next hour with you. As we get started, let's take a moment and think about why Goldilocks and what are we trying to accomplish by building a Goldilocks community. To me, Goldilocks symbolizes balance. Balance is about making sure that we are not taking extreme positions, but we come from a place of perspective taking, and we purposely drive that centeredness to impact the world we live in. Why do I say that? Remember when you were a young child or a young child in your neighborhood or in your family? They know exactly how to influence the adults around them to accomplish what they want. As children, we all knew that before we learned to talk. Somewhere along the way, we have forgotten it. We have lost our way. And we have been preconditioned to believe that it has to be black or white, either or. But think about the fact that your struggles in life, professionally and personally, how much of that is coming from because you are very grounded in your position and you don't want to take another perspective? Goldilocks is reminding us how to enter every situation so that we're not showing up too hot, not too cold. We're not showing up too hard or too soft. When we come from that just place of just right, then we are going to be able to truly influence change. Research shows that we can each only influence three levels from where we are. If I am coming from the extreme right end of a situation, I can only influence 3 levels of people towards the center. Similarly, if I'm coming from the extreme left end of a situation, I can only influence 3 levels towards the center. Towards the center in both cases being operative. But what if I took the time to take perspective and look at how any situation affects different people from different perspectives, and my truth is not somebody else's truth, and different people are affected by the same factor differently? And when I understand that and I come from that place of centeredness and mindfulness, it's very much like seeing the world beyond black or white, because life happens in the gray. When you take perspective and you come from a place of balance, you're like the prism that can take the white light and diffract it to see all the colors of the rainbow. And now you can do something beautiful with all the colors. Our diversity and our differences of opinion and our difference of experiences is what makes the world richer and more sustainable and viable. And if I don't understand that, my own purpose is not going to be successful, because I'm not going to be able to influence people to accomplish what I need to accomplish, because I'm too set in my ways and nobody has an incentive to work with me. I am bringing in disincentives. So Goldilocks is teaching us to build that balance, to come from that centeredness, so that we can build the power of influence to emerge as a true leader, a purposeful leader who's able to influence and transform, so that we can live our purpose and we can bring about shared prosperity. What is purpose? The very essence of our purpose sits in the centeredness of what each of us love, what each of us are great at, and what the world needs. If purpose itself sits at the centeredness, I cannot find my purpose if I'm not in my centeredness. So Goldilocks is also giving us the blueprint to get centered, to find our purpose, and then purposefully design our life so that we live it in a fulfilling way, personally and professionally. As we go into today's conversation, I want you to take 3 nuggets of wisdom. 1, understand and get centered on your purpose. Why? Focus on your purpose. Everything else will organically fall into place, because the universe is perfectly in tune. Have you noticed people who are focused and people who are positive and who believe that no matter what happens in the world, they are going to succeed? And the can-do spirit and the tenacity, miraculously, everything works for them. They don't find fault. They don't have excuses. They have a purpose. And they have the positivity of that purpose driving them. And it's about energy. We are each an embodiment of energy. Our spirit, our soul is made up of energy. We are beyond just our body, right? We are beyond our body. We're beyond our mind. We are a spirit. We are a bundle of energy. And the energy that embodies in us also influences the energy field around us. And when we are centered on purpose and we are positively focused, the positive energy moves everything to make things happen. So it's so important to get centered on purpose and stay the course, because that is going to be our true north. The second nugget of wisdom I want us to take into the conversation is dare to evolve and drive your success. Mother Nature is teaching us every day, every season, that evolving is necessary to thrive. When autumn comes, it doesn't mean it is the death of plants. Autumn means the leaves turn color. They first share their beauty, then they drop the leaves and they are getting ready to evolve and survive and thrive through winter to come out bursting into life in spring. So seasons of life teach us to evolve and transform to shape our resilience. Embrace each season with hope. Our lives are full of seasons. Just because a season comes around doesn't mean our life is over. It just means we need to evolve, build resilience, transform, and come at the other end to take on the next season. The last nugget I want us to take into the conversation is transform to lead with influence. Every human interaction is an opportunity for transformation. That means mindfully engaging with individuals we come across in life, regardless of what their roles are, regardless of what their titles are. If we allow ourselves to engage in an open, transformative way, instead of being transactional and trying to get something out of people, then we are actually building our ability to influence. We are building our ability to lead. And therefore, we are transforming not just the world around us, we're transforming ourselves. And if we cannot transform with purpose, we are not going to be able to accomplish anything we set forth in life. I'm so excited to introduce LEAP, Transform with Purpose, a special program my co-creator, Dr. Charlotte Allen, and I have put forth. And we cannot wait to bring you up to speed on why we are doing this, what we are doing, how this is going to change lives, and why we are excited about it. So Charlotte, welcome. Welcome to Unleash Your Inner Goldilocks. Today, we are getting together to talk about something very important to us, something that is going to help us understand how we live our purpose. And in the process of living our purpose, how do we bring what we love, what we are great at, and what the world needs? How do we bring it all together and truly make it meaningful in a way to drive our individual economic engines, but in a way that is meaningful for the world around us and that is impactful for the tectonic shift we're seeing in the world today? And our conversation today is about taking that leap of faith, taking that first step towards courageously walking into that future and truly transforming with purpose. And to have that conversation with me, my very good friend, my fellow author, and my partner in this journey, Charlotte Allen. Welcome, Dr. Allen, welcome to the show.
Wonderful to be here, Cass. I'm excited to kick this off with you.
I am so excited because a casual conversation, we were supporting each other with our respective books. And lo and behold, a beautiful relationship, lasting bonds evolve. Do you want to talk about the power of influence and the strength of women lifting women up and women helping transform women? Because we're able to live our purpose in that shared manner.
Mm-hmm. So I think there are a lot of opportunities these days for women to lift each other up. And I would say that there's not a lot of examples, I think, because we have not necessarily done a lot of that before. So I talk a lot about muscle memory, right? We don't have muscle memory on how to do this. We may have done it once, we may not be well practiced, but as we either are reaching across or reaching to the generation and the colleagues coming up through an organization, we have an opportunity to influence their behavior, how they show up, how they can grow and catapult over the similar mistakes and or similar experiences that we may have had based on our learning. So it is so powerful to be able to reach that hand out and help and guide, as well as, for what Cass and I are doing, walk together into a new place. So I think that is so powerful right now. And I'm so excited to be able to do this with you.
I am so honored. We are two STEM women from different aspects of the STEM program and the STEM world. And for those who are not familiar with the US definition of STEM, it is science and technology and math, right? And engineering. Mm-hmm. And so I come from the technology, math, finance world, and you come from, Charlotte?
So I come from a science, primarily a science engineering kind of space. So we balance each other nicely.
Yeah, so we come from two different aspects, but we've both been in roles where we're helping organizations look at the bigger picture and transform with purpose. And this is what we've done for more than, between us, we have over 50 years of experience. And what we want to do is the way we show up, show individuals how to hold space and help each other and transform together, along with guiding that journey. Because it is a guided journey. And as Charlotte and I have built this program, we have learned and grown by guiding each other, looking at things from each other's perspective. And one of the things we've committed to is being each other's blind spot watchers. I do something and she takes a look at it. And she does something and I look at it. And we are like, oh, great, I would never have thought about that. But what about this? What about this? Mm-hmm. How has that experience been, Charlotte, for you, collaborating and respectfully helping each other get to a place better than we would have on our own?
You know, it's a great question, Cass, because I think for my background and probably for yours, collaboration is one of the key foundational elements to our success, right? So when we say collaboration, we mean, you know, working together, we mean being individual as well as building on those ideas or promises together. What's really quite fascinating about you and I think, is that we have some similarities. We also have some bigger differences. So when we collaborate, as you said, we are watching each other's blind spots. We're sort of, and I guess I would have phrased it, we're expanding each other's boundaries, right? We are able to say, I hadn't really thought about that before. And how do I deliver my same message, or how do you deliver your same message, understanding that the boundary just got a little bigger, right? So I think it's been really refreshing. I think it has been enriching. And I think, you know, for me, I've learned a lot working with you, and we'll hope to continue to do that.
Absolutely. And that is the bigger message for us. We want to, through this experience, create a blueprint for how to live this collaborative lifestyle, how to truly not be afraid to let somebody in
Mhm.
and make each of us better than we are on our own. And as we take this journey, we are going to take the program participants through 4 parts. Charlotte, why don't you kind of explain some of the 4 parts?
Sure. So we are going to start with helping participants around this concept of purpose. So both, and I think before I start, what we're gonna talk about is how to do this within your personal space, right? And how to also do this within your professional space. Because as we see and as we've experienced, those two tend to collide. They tend to join happily together, or they clash when they are not aligned together. So in each of the stages that we're going to talk about, we are going to talk about how to do those in unison, or how to do them separately if one of them is out of balance. So purpose is really around how to understand and find your personal purpose, how to have it guide you in what you're doing, and then how to align that with structuring the delivery of your purpose within your professional space. You know, if you're running a company, maybe it's the purpose of your company, but for a lot of people, it's how do I deliver my personal purpose within my professional world. So that's segment number 1. Evolve, relevant, we'll do next. So we'll talk about how to remain relevant. We all understand through the pandemic, things have shifted and changed. And we are, some folks are finding that their skill sets or how they show up at work or how they show up personally is a little out of kilter. They don't feel as though they have what they need to move forward. And a lot of that is how do I remain and stay relevant when the world around me is shifting, both professionally and personally. We will talk about how to evolve. We will talk about how to do this in such a way that it's proactive, in such a way that we're ready, in such a way that we understand the steps going forward. Because when we talk about this change from an evolution standpoint, oftentimes the hesitation or the fear that comes in all of us when we're faced with this is because we do not know what the path will hold, right? So we're going to talk about how to do that and give you some suggestions and some guides along the way. And then for transformation, I mean, truly, we are put on this planet, I think both of us feel, to contribute something that only we can contribute. Nobody else can contribute this thing that's uniquely ours. So how do we transform ourselves in our journey in life? And how do we transform our delivery of our unique essence or our unique thing or our unique being so that the transformation happens around us as well? So those are the 4 areas that we're gonna talk about and guide everyone on a journey with us.
So much, Charlotte. You did that beautifully. And ultimately, our goal is to help people understand and know how to live their purpose and be in your profession in a way that there is value congruence. Mm-hmm. When our personal values and our purpose is not congruent to what we are doing at work, then there's that eternal conflict. And that's where all the stress and strain of life comes in. Mm-hmm. And so in this journey, you're going to find, why am I not happy at my job? What do I need to do to find fulfillment? I personally, in my life, have found that all the things that gives me a sense of purpose, I can't get in one job. I'm sure you've found that too. That's why we've become authors. We've done training. We are part of professional organizations. We are mentors. We are involved in social activities because the work is just one place. It can't satisfy the whole of us. And why look for something that doesn't exist in one place and then get frustrated? Instead, what is my overarching purpose? Where does work fit in? Where does my life fit in? And how do I live a life relevant to my purpose so that I can evolve and transform and live the best life I possibly can? Because we only have one life to live. And this life is the most precious gift we've been given. And what do we leave behind as a legacy when this journey is over? So we're coming at it from a much larger perspective to help our participants take that guided journey in a meaningful way and truly be transformed, because we are living at an age where everybody is frustrated and things are not working. So how excited are you about kicking this program off and seeing the transformation and guiding that transformation?
You know, I am super excited. So we have, again, Cass and I have been talking about this for at least a year when we first connected on this topic. And I think that as that year has transpired, and as you and I have both experienced additional leaps and additional transformations, it has just made this more important. So I'm super excited to kick it off. I think that for me, and I'll speak for Cass, I think our real objective, the reason we want to do this isn't necessarily for us as much as it is to be able to give this guidance, this assurance, this sort of let me reach my hand out to those who need something to come forward. So it is really about how do we see that transformation and how do we see that grow within other people? I think that's what I think we're so excited about, because we want to also be able to pass on, right? Pass on the learnings that we've had and to make it a little easier for the next person, right? Because we didn't necessarily always take the easy path, but I believe our learnings can help us understand how to do it better, different for others for the next time. So I'm excited. I can't wait to get started.
Me too. And beautifully said, Charlotte. Our goal, as Charlotte just said, is truly create this joyful momentum. And when everybody is embracing their own transformation and everybody is pivoting to understand, how do I stay relevant in a world that is constantly changing? Life is not one and done. And the employer is always asking, what are you going to do for me lately? Mm. And the world is not the same. Professions that were here before the pandemic, some of them are not going to be here at the end of this pandemic. So how do we make sure everybody gets an opportunity to live our purpose? Because our purpose is larger than our job. Mm. And how do we truly live our whole person purpose? And how do we get joy and fulfillment? And in the process, how do we pass it on? So we will be including case studies and hands-on experiences and coaching as part of this. This is not going to be just I'm going to talk and you're going to listen type of a thing. It is truly a journey that is guided. And Charlotte, why do you think taking that more holistic lived experience approach is the right way to go?
So folks who may look at this may think at the beginning that we're going to hand you a piece of paper that has like the 10 bullet points of success. Okay. And what I want to help you guys understand is that you have a transformation you either want to make or you need to make right now. And that won't be your last. That won't be your last, right, in your life. So really, it's about how do we hear you, right, hear where you are and help you guide your world, right, into a new place. So the interactivity of it is really critical, because if we just sat there and talked to you based on what's on the slides, that doesn't necessarily absorb the same as if you are personally engaged, if you are invested, if you feel as though your contribution, oh, by the way, there's going to be other people, right? So your contribution is not only helping you guide your path, but it may and likely will help others in this course with their paths, because our collective knowledge is so much bigger than just Cass and I. And each one of the folks who enroll is going to be in a very different place, and they will be able to help each other and probably even Cass and I, right? Yes. On our journey. So this is the way, the collaborative approach And the collective is the way to go forward. So I'm super excited about how we've designed this.
Yes, absolutely. And the future is all about co-creation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about what each of us are making and the credit we are taking, but how are we going to co-create, and how are we going to keep moving the needle so that the outcome and the results are benefiting and creating a shared prosperity. So the image I have in mind is traditionally we bring some, where don't we all feel like a hamster? We're in a cage, we're mounted on a wheel, and we're running so fast and nothing is happening, and we're running so fast and we are tired. We are at that breaking point and too much is coming at us.
Mm-hmm.
And this program is intended to unmount the wheel, open the cage, and teach all of us, give us that muscle memory and the learning on how to propel ourselves forward from point A to point B. Because when we need to move from point B to point C, we can do it on our own. We have a co-creative community to reach out to, and we can plug and play based on the assistance and the collaborative support we need, knowing that not a single one of us are going to take this life journey alone. And to me, that mental image and the joy of creating that freeing. I mean, we talk about how in America we live free and different parts of the world don't have freedom. But if we truly cannot be free as individuals and live our purpose, are we really free?
That's a great point, right? Are we free in our mind in the way we live, right? That's the first place to be free.
So we are excited to create an opportunity for every one of us through this journey, you and us alongside. How do we continue to learn and evolve and transform to keep our minds free? And when our minds are free, our hearts are full, our soul is fulfilled. And that creates a more positive environment, a positive energy. And slowly we can take away all the negativity around us, not because we're fighting against it, but we are gently curating to replace it.
It's a great way to put it. Even if you don't want to be gentle about it and you want to kick it to the curb and chuck it out to the trash, if you're ready for that, we're ready to stand with you in helping you achieve that as well.
So you want to share with the group and with the audience how long the program is going to take and what kind of structure we are giving, Charlotte?
Sure. We are going to be doing this online. We will have a session, let's call it a session, right, where we are interacting around a given topic area, okay? And following that session in the next week, so it'll be weekly, we will be doing a group coaching session. So we will have a lot of interaction in the sort of delivery of material section and how we present and how we get information from our participants in that first group. And then we will give you guys some things to do. You guys need to put this in practice, because what we do not put in practice, we do not begin to do any different habits for. So we're going to give you an opportunity to put it in practice. We'll come back the week after, and we will talk about that. You'll get another week to sort of put that into practice before we start the next area of topic. So all in total, we will have 10 weeks together. And then we will have sort of a reset in the middle. So 11 weeks total, where you can, based on the goals that you set, based on what you want to achieve, based on how you want to execute this in your personal world and your professional world at the beginning, we'll use that mid reset point to say, okay, now that you've heard and experienced and engaged with the community for this half, how might that have shifted your objective or your goal, or did you accomplish what you set out to do and now you have new goals? So that's what we'll put in the midpoint, allowing you to implement this however you see best within your personal and professional space. I think that's about it, right, Cass?
Thank you. Thank you, Charlotte. And so the joyful journey of this is that you're not doing this alone.
Mhm.
You're going to check in with your peers. It's a guided process. It's a co-creative process. And you're expanding your boundaries, as we had talked earlier. And you're becoming bigger than, better than, more evolved than you were as you entered this program. And as you complete the program, it is our hope that you have expanded your network and your circle. And this process over the 11 weeks have helped create new habits. And those habits then drive your excellence, because excellence is a habit. Life is about habits. And the purpose and the goal of this entire experience is to change your belief that things are not working. Things are changing, and you are working to transform. And as you embrace that belief, you create habits, and each of our belief becomes our destiny. So how are you creating a change in belief to create habits that are going to change your values to drive your destiny? And that is going to keep the momentum up. That is going to keep you moving forward. And as part of this larger program, we're not just going to have you take this journey with us and be done. We're going to create a community. We are going to stay with you. If you need additional coaching, additional support, we'll be there. And we also plan to offer retreats and refreshers down the road, so that the folks you take this program with online through a webinar approach, once the pandemic world is died down and everybody can travel and we can meet up, we want to have a immersion experience, taking what you have learned, taking your journey and taking it to the next level. So how excited and how much are you looking forward to, Charlotte, coming out of all of this in, say, mid-2023? Actually turning this into a retreat and doing some of those other things?
It is really exciting. As you said, this is about changing the belief that you can align your personal purpose with kind of your work purpose, because I believe we not always do we feel as though that's possible, right? So this journey should help us understand that it's possible. And I want to say, and understand that you can be successful doing it that way. Because people may say, okay, I can do it, but am I really gonna have what I want? Am I really going to be able to support a family, or feed a hobby, or give back to others, right? So I think it's that courage, and it's that belief that you can and you will. And I think that taking this online experience, right, which is a great convenience tool that we have now established a habit for in the last few years, right? This allows people from everywhere to sort of plug in at the same time. But being in person at a retreat, at a site, allows Cass and I also to invite the rest of our community in to contribute to where you guys are. So we know other speakers, other authors, other experts who could enrich your experience beyond just the community. So again, it just, makes that boundary that much bigger. And that will allow us to establish those bonds that sometimes can only be made in person, right? I think all of us, when we get back to seeing, like when Cass and I met over, this was like in the winter, I think it was cold.
Last year, yeah.
It was cold, and we were like, wow, we get to see each other in person. This is awesome. So it just makes it that much better, that much different. It connects that much stronger when you get to do that. So it is something that I believe we will ultimately get to, and I'm very excited about.
Yes. And to me, and I know, Charlotte, you agree with us and you subscribe to this theory, no two of us are the same, right? Even when we look the same, we're not the same. And the power of that collaboration and co-creation is the fact that we are different. The fact that we are different, and yet we can shape each other and expand each other's boundaries. And without even realizing the positive outcomes of all of this, is individuals learning to respect each other, valuing each other, holding space for each other, being inclusive, all of these things we have programs for becomes a natural extension of a collaborative co-creative process. And we want to create the muscle memory of how to do it. We don't have to fear that if I shared, you're going to take my share, right? Mm-hmm. There is enough in the world to go around. None of us can serve the need of the entire world. And we can each do our part and thrive because we have each other to lean in on. Mm-hmm. And for us, creating that powerful experience, for you to truly believe in it, that is the hidden gift that we can all get out of this experience. So as you are all listening to this, what questions or thoughts come to your mind as our live audience?
I'll hop on. I had a little earlier chat with Charlotte, and I may have misheard, but Cass, I thought you referred to her as Dr. Charlotte Allen, and if that's correct, you got your doctorate. I'm interested to hear what you studied and how that is impacting what you're doing now. And I also loved your earlier when you were talking about how the personal and professional worlds often collide or align, and how what you studied is impacting, influencing that collision or alignment.
So my doctorate was in food science, and what was unique about my program was that it was the first time the university had put together 5 different departments across the university for one PhD program. So my program, based on what I wanted to do, was the first in collaborating with these folks who didn't really work together before. So I had a committee member from horticulture, one from food science, one from human nutrition, one from the College of Medicine, who primarily worked on cancer research, and another from another, I can't remember. It might have been 2 from the food science department. But essentially, I pulled my collegiate experience, pulled together very dissimilar ideals and very dissimilar people. And as the less influencing person, right? I'm the grad student who's trying to finish and get out, had to influence these tenured professors to work together and to understand how this could be bigger if we structured it in such a way such that they each contributed. So it was a bit of me having my own idea of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to contribute, because at the end of the day, research at the PhD level is often very fundamental, but I wanted an application. I wanted to be able to say it mattered. And so there was that piece of it that I truly had a passion for putting into it. So that experience then went into my sort of corporate craft foods world and worked across those silos that are also very typical within the corporate space. And having been able to pull together very dissimilar folks to drive innovation, to help our organization get better at change. And then as those things are happening, my personal world is also, when you look at it, I have different groups of folks, right? I have different places where I plug in. I have different places where I volunteer. So it's all very dissimilar, but I'm able to draw both in from each of those experiences and pass back out, right? My knowledge and bandwidth, if you will, to those other groups. So it probably started even younger than that. It probably started before, when I was working as a respiratory therapist. It probably started trying to pull together a team of people around a patient. It probably even started sooner than that. My dad said, he's like, the one thing you need to do is make sure you get to know everybody, right? So that was one of the tenets, right? How do you get to know them and how do you get them all to work together? Doesn't always happen really smoothly, but it was something that he started at a very young age. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, that's really fascinating, because it looks like you're taking that concept because in your talking, you use the words collaboration and co-creation, as and Cass did too. So it sounds like you're taking that whole life stream and applying those concepts to this program. So that's really fascinating. I love it. So interesting.
I think Cass has a couple of that too. Cass has got a
Yes,
similar
yes.
path.
Thank you so much for the question. And I love how you explained that and connected the link. So let me come at it from my vantage point here to kind of close out where we are coming from as a duo for this program. So I learned to collaborate and co-create because I left home and raised a family on my own without parents in a foreign country, in a foreign language. And the only way things were going to work is I had to bring other people in and help them help me and help them help me grow up and become the adult I was going to be and raise my family so that we're all going to be able to stand on our feet, having left home in the middle of a war zone. So that fast forward and getting a PhD in finance, I had to be very conscious in understanding that professionally finance tends to traditionally look at outcome and results and profits. But those are all ultimately outcomes. If the input is not there, the output is not going to be there. So I intentionally crafted my doctoral research around the moral cognitive capability of a CFO organization and how do we create that collaborative, co-creative, socially responsible space so that the CFO team is doing everything right for innovation and sustainability to create the long-term value for the organization and society. Otherwise, the finance organization becomes the parasite in the short run to get all the benefits. And once all the hosts are dead, the parasite has no place to go. So how do I take the traditional finance function and research and transform it in a way that we create a symbiotic relationship that is continually co-creating and facilitating innovation? And with that ability, then going into mergers and acquisition situations and governmental organization transformations, and bringing multiple perspectives, bringing multiple stakeholders, and driving that sustained transformation so that that organization can remain relevant and continue to serve. So when I did the acquisition of Duracell for Warren Buffett, we acquired Duracell as it had gone into Procter & Gamble as part of Gillette. And it was languishing under Procter & Gamble. When we acquired it and we had to position it, we positioned it as a portable power company. Why? Because if we positioned it as a battery company, it's not going to evolve. It doesn't have a future. It may not have a longevity to actually transform. But the minute we crafted it to be a portable power company, now the purpose was better defined. It had the opportunity to remain relevant as the world transformed. And it had the runway room to evolve. And it was a 5-year post-acquisition transformation to create the habits and the muscle memory internationally for the organization to move forward. So having done this in real time, real life, even in the middle of the pandemic, Charlotte and I feel like we're coming from two different aspects of business, two different perspectives of doing this, but we're aligned on purpose. Mm-hmm. And so when we're aligned on purpose, we can co-create. And to us, that is the power that we draw from each other. So any other questions, Elisa, Precious, as you all listen to this?
Okay, I'd just like to say hello first. From the parts that I caught, I really value the whole transformational aspect of things because I'm currently in a transition myself. And I realize for us to be able to take the steps to complete those transitions, and you go through a process. And I believe that's transformation, because if not, you're not prepared for the next step. You may have a head knowledge that this would be a great thing, this would be great, but having the ability and the mind to actually do it and all of the changes that come with it, being able to be strong enough to go through that to get to the other side, that's a transformation. And so the fact that you all have this, I just think it's phenomenal. And I looked up the post again just quickly and about the webinar in June, and that it says a free webinar, and it's just really it's powerful and it's much appreciated. So I would imagine those who are really good in this space are because they have had to do the same thing themselves. And so it's personal, I would imagine. And if you could just maybe share one thing that helped you be able to complete your transformations. Is there anything that stands out, any quality or a person? What helped you? Because it's not easy, I'll say. But once it's come to, there's peace that you can't put a price on. It all falls in place, but it's a real process.
What a fantastic question. Go ahead, Charlotte. I'll let you take this first.
Yeah, Precious. I'm not sure I can come up with just one thing. For me personally, I would say when you align your purpose professionally and personally, there of course needs to be an awareness of a kind of both of those things. So the first place you have to kind of be is aware of kind of who you are, what you want, what you're passionate about, et cetera, what you're good at, all of those things. And then honestly, once you're there, the next biggest thing for me is probably taking a step every single day, right? It is those habits. It is not, you don't always have to take a big leap every day, right? But you do need to continually to move forward. And that is in the face of not knowing often where you're going, right? You kind of have a vision of the destination, but your vision of the destination may be not exactly the same as where you land when you're quote unquote finished. Mm-hmm. Not that we're ever finished. But you have to, there are parts of this journey where you have to go on kind of a faith. You have to have the courage. You have to overcome your fears, and you just have to take a step. So when you take that big, huge thing that is the unknown and you break it down into, okay, I'm going to take a step here. I'm going to do this one thing. I might do two things. I might take a step back, right? And then go forward again. I think those are the most important things in accomplishing almost anything for me in life. I don't know, Cass, if that's similar or different from you.
No, you're spot on. So the way I look at things is we never know where the journey is going to take, because the world is evolving as we are taking the journey, right? Mm-hmm. As we just explained. But I start with the faith that the universe is rigged in my favor. In my culture, we talk about how a cell in a womb is brought to life. If we just had the faith of the mustard seed, life has a way of working out. So I step into the world with the faith and the belief that the universe is rigged in my favor. And I do everything congruent with my purpose and live my purpose. And not let fear paralyze me, because fear can be normal. But if that fear can be channeled to take steps forward instead of letting it paralyze us, and live in the moment, because it's in those moments we take the step. If we focus on the past about what happened, we are never living in the present. And whatever happened, we can't control. It's over, right? And if we are worried about, am I going to get there? I'm never taking the first step to even move towards there. And a lot of times we get paralyzed and get stuck either in the past or the future. But the trick is having the faith and taking the steps today. Because if we take care of today, tomorrow will take care of itself. Mm-hmm. And have you noticed, if you walk into a place with a smile on your face, everybody else is smiling at you, and all of a sudden things happen. If you walk in somewhere and greet somebody pleasantly and ask for something, 9 out of 10 times people are going to meet you halfway. And so just embrace that. I don't expect anybody to get in my way and harm me. And as a Hindu, I tell myself, if what's the worst they can do to me? Kill me? If they kill me, I'm coming back again, because this is not the only life. We believe in rebirth, right? So I'm coming back. And I grew up in the middle of the war. And I remember even telling the military guys who were threatening to kill me, you kill me, I'm going to come back as your daughter, right? Because your karma is that you took my life. In your next life, you have to nurture mine. So I am going to be your daughter. I am going to make you broke. I am going to break your heart. And you're going to be a bitter, sad man because your daughter couldn't love you. And is that what you want, right? So I'm very comfortable, kind of in a tongue-in-cheek way, having these conversations because it's funny. It is not confrontational, and it's a different perspective. And why not? And all is rooted in the faith that very rarely, unless you're a sociopath, you're not going to wake up in the morning saying, I'm going to destroy everybody's lives. And 9 out of 10 times, if we phrase the conversation right, we're not giving people the opportunity to say no. You're such a wonderful person. I know you want to help me, instead of saying, don't you want to help me? So everything is in the way we approach things. And for me, staying positive, expecting that the universe is in my favor because my God gave me this life. And therefore, my God is going to make sure this life is lived to its utmost purpose because I am a part of the energy of my God. To me, that was freeing. So if there was one thing I would anchor it on, it is that faith and the knowledge that I am part of something larger and something more beautiful and something more whole, and something that came out of that wholeness and beauty and peace and love. How can it be anything other than what it came from? Does that help you, Precious?
Beautiful. Both. Absolutely. I concur. I align with both of you all shared. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Precious. So as we bring this conversation to a close, Charlotte, any closing thoughts, any closing call to action for our audience?
Closing thoughts, I would say we are so excited to be here for you and with you, right? So not very often in my personal experience or my professional experience have I been given an opportunity to plug in to something with this support and this amount of collaboration, and that invest in me, right? So often the things that I do at work invest in the company, right? Because that's what their priorities are, but they aren't necessarily invested in me. Okay, so I would say that this is an amazing opportunity. We're structuring this because it is unique based on what we've seen. So I'm excited for that reason. And next steps are, it's a really low opportunity, no strings attached. Join us in the June webinars. We have 2 of them. And, sign up, hear a little bit more of the details about what we're doing, get your questions answered specifically about the program. We would absolutely love to have you join us. We're really excited about getting kicked off.
Thank you, Charlotte. And I am joyful about 2 things. One, continuing my journey with you and building something that is truly meaningful for both of us and continue our collaborative transformation. And together, make it possible for others to live their purpose too, because there's nothing more joyful than watching somebody else take that and fly, right? So our goal is to anchor you with habits and tools and give you the wings to fly all at the same time, so that you can expand your boundaries and you can reach for the stars and you can live a life you were designed to live. Because each of you have that special gift, each of you have that special purpose. And as part of taking this journey with us, guided by us, it is our goal that you come out of this journey with a blueprint on how to go after your own dream, your own purpose. This is not just theory. We are going to help you build that plan. So think of it as when you're going somewhere, you put it on a GPS and then it helps you navigate. Our goal is to give you that path with the tools and the support system so that we stay with you. The community is there the way you need for us to show up. and we'll help you get there and we'll celebrate you. So I cannot wait for this to happen. I am super excited. And please sign up for our June webinars. We have 2 of them. Pick which one is going to work for you and join. We've picked the times and days in a way that it works for our international community as well. So we cannot wait to see you. And thank you so much for joining today. And Charlotte, Dr. Allen, it is such an honor to be taking this journey with you, and such a pleasure to have had you on the program today. And I am sure we're going to be talking to this audience and sharing some of the success stories. And who knows, as people make their transformation, we'll bring them on the program and have them tell their stories and amplify their voice and amplify their purpose. So we have this community, this Goldilocks community that truly understands the co-creative, collaborative process. And it's not just for ladies, gentlemen, it's for all of you as well. So we look forward to taking this journey with you and cannot wait to actually see this come to life. It's not a one-time only. We are going to be doing this on multiple occasions, different programs, but we would love to see you as we kick this off. And to our audience today, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for taking this journey with us. And Charlotte, my gratitude to you for hopping on and having that faith to take this journey with me, because it's not something that we are comfortable doing or taught to do every day, but it truly is deeply touching for me that you took that chance and took this journey with me.
I too, Cass, I'm so grateful that you reached out and I reached out at the same time. So I think we, decided to collaborate. And I am grateful that we're doing this together. I am grateful that you also reached out and said, let's go, right? Because that's what we both wanted. So
absolutely. And we are better because of it. And we want to share that magic with all of you. So as we bring this episode to a close, remember to go to Transform with Dr. Cass at the YouTube channel, and you can catch other insightful conversations to improve and impact your journey. And as we always remind you, make sure that you embrace every human interaction as your opportunity for transformation, because you never know who is going to touch your life and how your journey is going to get sparked. So go out there and meet people and embrace life with all the joy you have in your heart, and take the journey to transform others. And in that process, please don't forget to transform yourself.